Hey everyone, it's Bill McDonald, the Reading and Writing Doctor. I want to start this video by singing you a little song. If a picture paints 1,000 words, then why can't I paint you? It's not part I need to know because if it's true that a picture paints 1,000 words, that's great because in reading, I don't need 1,000. In the case of the question we're going to look at, we only needed like 10 words to base on not one picture, but two pictures. So whenever they ask you a question about a photograph or a picture, you have to look at the subject of the picture. What are the subjects doing? Where are they at? What are they wearing? And so if you see the commonalities between two pictures, then the big idea would be taking the two pictures and saying, if I can take a picture and make 1,000 words, let's see if I can take two pictures and at least make 10 words with it. The question we're going to look at is an 8th grade question, and it only scored 40% correct in Texas. We double checked to make sure I'm not lying. Yes, that's true. It was question number 23 on this past year's reading test for 8th grade. And I feel like no matter what question that I look at on the test, I'll be able to use one of my reading materials to help your students solve it, because if less than half of the kids are getting a question right, we've got to add something. We've got to differentiate our instruction in a way that connects to the total physical learner, where they can see something visually, verbally, auditorily, or kinesthetically, where we connect to the learning style of our kids in some way. So what I'd like to do is, let's first take a look at the question so we can see just exactly how difficult it was. Get everything else out of the way so we can just focus on the question that's being asked. Share my screen from my document camera. So here is this question 23 that got 40%. A picture on top says Bud and Temple Abernathy with their father. So apparently, two boys and a dad. Two boys and a dad. Well, since they're just sitting down, all you can tell me about the picture, well, all I know is how they're dressed. I can't see much else about that. The ride of a lifetime is the topic, but sometimes this title, ride of a lifetime, can throw your students off because in the question, they didn't ask about the title, they asked about the photographs. So in picture one, there's a photograph of boys and the dad, and all we know about them. What about them? How they're dressed, the sentences. The second picture, there's no dad, but they're still boys, but they're boys with horses. And what can you tell about horses? Well, I don't see them in a car, a train, a plane, an automobile, a subway, a tram. I see them on a horse. So based on that, I would suggest that we use that to come up with our answer. But if you look, I'm going to show you a different way that if you have my binder, then you can go to page, as you see it on the corner there, 532. If a picture paints 1,000 words, then words can also paint a picture. Use the box below to draw a picture or several pictures of what you're reading. Well, they gave us a picture, So we're going to change the pictures to words this time. So if I was to annotate and draw as you saw me do first, I said, well, the first picture, what does it have in it? Well, the first picture is boys and dad. Okay. What about the picture? What's the action? If we have a subject, we also have a predicate. What's the action that we're seeing in the picture? Nothing. They're just sitting with their dad. They're sitting, and all we can tell is what they're, spell that correctly, what they're wearing. So if we look at the other picture, then we'll be able to do the same thing. What's the subject of the picture? Well, it's the boys still, but the dad is not in the picture, literally or figuratively. So what we'll do here is we'll write boys, it's the same boys, on horses. Okay. Well, what does that tell me? Apparently, if they're going for the ride of a lifetime, they apparently did it on a horse or on two horses in this case. Okay. So they're riding on horses. All right. That's what they're doing. So all we can assume is, well, this is not 2022 in these pictures, it seems like. So based on that time period, that's what they would wear, and that's how they would travel. So that's page 532, either taking the words and making a picture, or in the case of this question, taking the pictures, plural, and making the word. So the important theme is here, it asked about the pictures, not the picture. So let's take a look at the question one more time so we can see and do the process of elimination and make sure that we're able to understand why is it that maybe so many kids struggled. What were they seeing in the questions that could have thrown them off? Everything that we pick has to do with the relationship between the boys, their clothes, or the boys and their horse, the way they travel. So a unique relationship between Jack Abernathy and his sons, because Jack is not the subject of the second picture, only the sons are, we'd eliminate that choice because the word photographs, meaning plural, emphasize meaning what is it trying to point out? Well, the different time period in which the Abernathy boys period lived. Okay, there's the boys, and they lived in a different time period. Well, let's ask ourselves this: does how they are dressed show that? Yes, depending on the year, and sometimes depending on the place you're at, you so either the time or the place, it affects maybe what you wear and what you travel. So I'll put a question mark right there. Letter C says, impressive skill the Abernathy boys had with horses. Well, because that only has half of the pictures, and they asked about photographs, not the second photograph. Because it's only got half of the information, I can automatically get rid of that because we want to talk about both pictures. I've got to have something to do with uh, the boys both in the picture with their dad wearing that style of clothing, or on the horses taking off somewhere, their means of transportation. Sights that the Abernathy boys encountered on their ride. Well, since that's again only the second picture, only half. So second pick, no. Second pick, no. So if your kids don't pay attention, what is the only common denominator? Well, the common denominator is the boys. So if you had sort of like a Venn diagram, how the things are the same and how they're different, um, it would have to be something to do with how they dressed back then, or how they would travel. So if you look at that common ground between the two pictures, literally, I wrote it between the two pictures. The only one would say, okay, during that time period, it was in which they lived, that's how they would dress, and that's how they would travel. Basically, it would give an example of what their world might look like if we were to take a snapshot. So I think that if you remember in the advanced writing folder, in the revising portion, because reading is connected to revising, I have on the lower right hand portion, sometimes we have to slow life down. They say that life happens at full speed, but reading and writing happen in slow motion. If you would do arms, you could either do actors remember more sequence. So we could have kids acting out, sitting on the dad, uh, on the lap, enjoying time with their father, or artists remember more senses arms, getting a picture. What is that? What's that picture like? What's going on in that picture? What are the five senses? Uh, what is the setting? Where you can see horseback riding and you can see unusual older clothing. And the READ-VISING Graphic Organizer, which comes with the crest training and the 6 sets of materials on the arm portion, it does say that either arms is going to be with these little bracelets. Actors remember more sequence, left side, or artists remember more setting, or your five senses. So that helps the kid remember that there's an arm in there and they can write arm to remind themselves that for reading and revising, they can do actors remember more story sequence, or sequence of a poem if there's a story in the poem, uh, in chronological order, a play, literary nonfiction. As long as there's some sort of an order, a sequence of events, then we can act them out in order. Artists remember more setting, which is the five senses. So hopefully one of these ways will work for you and your students, so that we don't get 40%. Remember to look at the photographs, plural, instead of one photograph, because two of the answers right away would have been wrong because they were about uh, only the second picture, and the other one was wrong because it was only about the first picture. So what all the kids had to do was figure out which one is the only one that is the common ground, the how they compare. They both represented the ways of life back then by A, the way they dress, and by B, the way they travel. So, what I'm curious about for your challenge here, for those of you who like the challenges, uh, what do you like to wear in your favorite location? The clothing that you like to wear in your favorite location, or because of the other picture, how do you like to travel? Many of you might like horseback riding, and that's great. But if we can think outside the box, think of a special kind of clothing that you wear for a special situation, or a clothing that you would wear for, sorry, or a means of transportation, a way that you like to use to get to from one place to the other. If it's a certain kind of vehicle, what's the make and the model? So that's your challenge uh, for today. If you want to message me or email me, and I'm always interested to hear what you guys have to say. My means of traveling would be in a golf cart because I love golfing so much and I'm too lazy to walk. My favorite clothing to wear, because I feel like I don't I'm not model material. I'm not GQ or GT. I'm just me. I feel like I like to dress up a little bit with maybe a sports coat, uh, a button-up shirt, and a nice pair of slacks, or a tie with a coat and a pair of slacks, just so that I can be a little more presentable, so that the people I'm around can almost look as good as me in that casual setting. Uh, But that's just me. What about you? What do you like to wear in your place that you like to go to? That kind of setting I would probably choose would probably be a church setting, a wedding, or any formal occasion. And the golf cart, of course, would be on a golf course, uh, driving around with my friends to save energy because we're too lazy to walk. Thanks and take care.